Leo the lighting bug. High above the grassy fields, where fireflies dance like stars come to earth, lived Leo, the smallest lightning bug in his whole glow group. Every night, the others would zip and zoom through the air, lighting up in perfect patterns. But Leo's light was just a faint flicker. "You'll glow one day," Mama Bug always said, but Leo wasn't sure. One evening, determined to prove himself, Leo flew higher than ever before, flapping his tiny wings with all his might. But the wind was strong, and a gust swept him far from home into the dark forest. There, trembling on a leaf, Leo spotted a lost baby owl crying quietly. Though scared himself, Leo fluttered over and blinked his tiny light to comfort the little bird. "Don't worry," Leo said softly. "I'll help you." Slowly, blinking his light one flash at a time, Leo guided the owl through the darkness. With each flap of his wings, his glow grew brighter, until by the time they reached the edge of the meadow, Leo was shining like the full moon. The other fireflies gathered in awe, and Mama Bug beamed with pride. From that night on, Leo led the nightly light dance, not because he glowed the brightest, but because he had the biggest heart. News of Leo's bravery spread throughout the meadow. Creatures of all sizes came to admire the little bug who shone so brightly from an inner light. Leo taught them that true brilliance wasn't about being the biggest or the flashiest, but about courage, kindness, and using your gifts to help others find their way, even in the darkest of times.
The Listening Tree.
In the middle of a bright, sunny meadow stood a magical tree with a thick trunk and a wide green canopy that sparkled under the blue sky. Birds chirped joyfully, butterflies fluttered through the flowers, and ladybugs played among the petals. But what made this tree truly special was something no other tree had: it could listen. One morning, a little pink bunny with floppy ears came hopping slowly along the grassy path. She looked a little sad, her ears drooping and her nose twitching. She sat quietly at the base of the tree, placed her tiny paws together, and began to talk. She spoke about how she missed her best friend, how she felt lonely, and how some days just felt heavy. The tree didn't speak, but it listened. Its leaves rustled softly, and a warm golden glow surrounded its trunk. The bunny felt the magic. She smiled for the first time that day and hopped away feeling lighter and happier. Next came a blue songbird fluttering down from the sky, her feathers ruffled by the wind. She perched on a branch and chirped nervously about losing her favorite nest and feeling unsure where she belonged. The tree listened with its quiet glow, its branches leaning gently toward her. The bird sang a new tune, soft at first, then louder with joy. She twirled through the air and soared away, her heart filled with hope. Then a little green turtle slowly made his way up the path. He looked tired and thoughtful. Sitting at the foot of the tree, he sighed, "Sometimes I feel like I'll never catch up." The tree didn't speak, but its branches shimmered and sparkles floated in the air. The turtle felt calm and understood. He stretched his neck, smiled gently, and took a deep breath of forest air. Soon, more animals began arriving: foxes, owls, squirrels, deer, raccoons, all with their own stories, feelings, and dreams. They gathered around the listening tree, each taking a turn to speak. And just like before, the tree glowed warmly and listened to every word without judgment. It didn't need to talk. Just being there made all the difference. In the end, the animals created a banner made of leaves and flowers that read, "Thank you, listening tree." They danced, they sang, and as they looked up, a rainbow stretched across the sky. The meadow glowed with color, joy, and love. As the sun began to set, the animals sat quietly around the tree. A soft breeze carried a glowing message across the sky. Talking helps. Listening is love. And from that day forward, the tree stood proudly in the meadow, not just tall and green, but full of the love it had gathered from every heart it had heard.
The kindness algorithm. Offline adventure. Ben was a happy little boy with big hazel eyes and bouncy brown hair. He loved his screen more than anything. Every day, he sat on his cozy rug in the middle of a bright, colorful living room and played his favorite games. Tap tap, zoom zoom. The sounds of his tablet filled the eye as his plush toys watched from the shelves. One sunny morning, Ben was just about to win his favorite game when, beep, his tablet screen went dark. "Oh no," Ben said, staring wide-eyed. He pressed the button. He swiped. Nothing. His stuffed bunny drooped sadly beside him. Just then, Mama walked in with a warm smile and held out his red sneakers. "Let's go outside," she said. Ben looked up. "Outside?" he asked. "Yes," Mama said cheerfully. "Let's see what the real world has to offer." Ben put on his shoes and sun hat with Mama's help. The hallway was bright and cozy, with a rainbow rug under his feet and a coat rack shaped like a tree. When the door opened, golden sunshine burst through. Outside was full of color. Flowers waved hello, butterflies fluttered by, and a little bird chirped in the tree. "Hello, sunshine," Ben shouted, stepping into the big, beautiful world. A happy sun beamed down from the sky. Ben stretched out his arms and grinned. The grass was green and soft. The daisies smiled up at him. Suddenly, a tiny blue bird landed on a branch. "Tweet, tweet," it sang. Ben waved and giggled. Then, boing, boing, a fluffy brown bunny hopped into the garden. Ben tiptoed behind it, careful not to scare it. The bunny led him past spring flowers and a wooden bench where his plush toy had once Saturday. Ben twirled and danced as colorful butterflies flew all around him. "Wee," he laughed. The wind carried sparkles through the air. Then, he rolled down a soft green hill, arms wide, dandelions floating around him. A little squirrel peeked from behind a tree trunk to say hello. At the park, Ben saw his best friend Lily on the swing. "Hi, Lily," he called. She waved, and together they ran to the open field. "Let's play," Lily said. They played tag, their laughter sparkling like sunshine. A little ladybug flew by, and the birds sang happy songs. Near a tiny pond, Ben and Lily crouched like frogs. Rip-it, rip-it. They jumped and splashed. Frogs hopped around them, and lily pads floated on the glistening water. Not far from there, they built a little house using twigs beside a tree stump. A curious squirrel watched them with interest. Then came the surprise of the day, an animal parade. A fox with a flower hat, an owl with tiny glasses, and a hedgehog with a sunflower crown strolled by slowly. Ben and Lily clapped and cheered from behind a bush. After so much fun, it was time for a snack. Mama laid out a red-checked picnic blanket under twinkly string lights. They munched on apples, crackers, and juice. "Yum," said Ben. After eating, they dipped leaves into jars of rainbow paint and pressed them onto paper. Swish, splash, splat. The colors were bright and happy. Ben turned to Mama and gave her a big hug. "Thank you, Mama." Lily clapped with joy, and little sparkles and hearts floated all around them. As the sun began to set, Mama held Ben's hand. They walked home down a golden path with glowing trees and birds flying above. Lily waved goodbye from the park gate. At home, Ben had a bubbly bath with duck toys and sea creature stickers all over the bathroom walls. He laughed and splashed until his fingers were wrinkly. Then, cozy in his pajamas, he snuggled under his starry blanket. Mama read him a story while a soft nightlight glowed beside his bunny. Soon, Ben closed his eyes and dreamed of butterflies, bunnies, and birds, all floating together through a sky of heart-shaped clouds and twinkling stars. Ben had discovered something wonderful. Playing outside was just as fun as playing on his screen. "Screens are fun," he whispered in his dream, "but so is sunshine." Why we shay. It was a bright and sunny morning in Animal Town. The grass was green, the flowers were dancing, and the butterflies were smiling. In the middle of all this joy was Lulu the bunny, hopping happily with her shiny red ball. She loved her ball more than anything. Boing, bounce, boing, she giggled as she tossed it high into the air. Just then, Toby the turtle came waddling along the path, holding a pretty green leaf. "Hi, Lulu," he smiled. "Can I play with your red ball too?" But Lulu shook her head. "No, it's mine," she said firmly, hugging the ball close. Toby's smile faded. Slowly, he turned and walked away. The sky dimmed a little, and even the flowers looked droopy. Soon after, Mimi the monkey came swinging down from a tree, giggling with glee. "That ball looks like fun. Can I play too, Lulu?" she asked with her big, bright smile. But again, Lulu said no. Mimi's smile disappeared. She sat under a flower and hugged her tail. Lulu looked around. No Toby, no Mimi, just her and the red ball. Suddenly, it didn't feel so fun. Lulu sat down quietly. The wind whispered through the petals. Then, pop! A sparkly thought bubble floated above her head. Inside, she saw herself laughing, rolling the ball, and playing with Toby and Mimi. Her eyes lit up. I want to share, she said happily. Off she went, hopping down a rainbow-colored path, calling, Toby, Mimi, let's play together. Her friends came running with big smiles and warm hugs. They sat in a cycle and rolled the red ball, taking turns and laughing together. The bees buzzed, the flowers swayed, and the joy grew even bigger. More friends joined. Daisy the duck, Max the fox, and Ellie the elephant all asked to play. Yes, said Lulu. Let's all share. They played games, shared toys and snacks, and danced to a happy song in a field full of musical notes and sparkles. As the sun began to set, the friends came in for a big group hug. The sky turned golden and the meadow sparkled like magic. And high above, a storybook opened in the stars. Lulu's voice whispered, sharing is kind. Sharing is fun. Sharing makes joy for everyone. And all the animals clapped and cheered, hooray for sharing. The kindness algorithm. In the magical town of Rainbowville, where the houses were painted like candy and flowers giggled in the sun, lived a cheerful little robot named Kibbo. Every morning, Kibbo stepped out of his tiny blue house with a big smile, ready for a brand new day of adventure. But Kibbo wasn't just any robot. He had a shiny red kindness button on his chest that made something special happen every time he touched it. One bright morning, Kibbo pressed his kindness button and sparkles floated all around him. Off he went, walking down the cobblestone street that shimmered like stars. Soon, he spotted a little blue bird under a tree, chirping sadly. Oh dear, are you hungry? Kibbo asked. He reached into his pouch and gave the bird colorful seeds. The bird chirped happily, fluttering around him in delight. Just a few steps later, Kibbo met Granny Turtle, slowly carrying a heavy basket of vegetables. Let me help you, Granny, said Kibbo kindly. He lifted the basket and walked beside her, while forest animals peeked out and smiled. Later at the playground, a puppy and kitten were tugging at the same toy shovel. Let's try sharing, Kibbo said gently. He helped them take turns, and soon they were laughing and building a big sandcastle together. When a duckling's toy car broke near a balloon stand, Kibbo used his glowing robot tools to fix it in a flash. The duckling's eyes sparkled with joy. Vroom vroom, it squeaked, zooming off. Kibbo even danced in the park just to cheer up a shy bunny who giggled and joined him, spinning in the sunshine with butterflies all around. He caught a flying purple hat for a clumsy cow, lifted a tiny squirrel to reach her rainbow juice, and marched proudly in the Helping Hands parade where everyone chanted, Be kind, help friends. After so many good deeds, Kibbo rested on a soft cloud bed, petals gently falling around him as stars began to twinkle. But the day wasn't over yet. There were seeds to plant with a mole, hedgehog, and piglet in the garden, umbrellas to share with a shivering raccoon, and a big story to read under the glowing leaves of a stora tree. High above the hills, Kibbo even flew with his propeller hat to rescue a runaway balloon for a baby chick. Then came a lovely picnic where he offered cookies to a shy bunny, and later, he sang joyfully while cleaning up glitter after a craft party. As the golden sunset painted the sky, all the animals Kibbo had helped ran up to him and gave him a great big group hug. Hearts floated in the air, and everyone smiled. Back home, Kibbo painted a sign that read kindness is cool with his friends. Finally, he snuggled into bed, his kindness button glowing softly. Outside his window, the moon smiled down and the stars whispered, Good night, Kibbo. And so, with a full heart and happy dreams, Kibbo drifted off to sleep, ready to share kindness again tomorrow.